This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
.45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Lal Mallavarachi, assisted by Sanjaya, and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. Migrant workers' remittances increased by 76%. The prices of medicinal drugs will be reduced by 16% from Thursday. Minister Manusha Nanayakkara says that the government is committed to secure the right to information of the people. Electricity tariffs will be reduced by next month. The State Minister for Women says plans are underway to provide nutritious biscuits to preschool children. Foreign news, former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi dies. In sports, Sri Lanka takes on Singapore in the preliminary round of the 12th Asian Youth Netball Championship today. News in detail. The Central Bank says that in the first 5 months of this year, the remittances received from Sri Lankans working abroad has increased to $2,346.9 million. The value of the remittances during the same period last year was $1,335.6 million. The remittances received by Sri Lanka this year compared to last 5 months last year has increased by 75.7%. In the month of May 2022, remittances of $304.7 million were received, and compared to this, the remittances received in May this year is $479.7 million, showing an increase in remittances this year. Meanwhile, in the month of April 2022, Sri Lanka received remittances to the tune of $249.9 million, and remittances received in the month of April this year is $454 million. In 2022, 311,056 Sri Lankans went abroad for work, and this year 95,892 have gone abroad for work during the period from January to April 1st. The number of people who went abroad for work in April this year is 19,774. The Health Ministry says that legal proceedings are now being held to reduce the price of medicinal drugs by 16%. The price reduction will be implemented from the 15th of next month. Minister Kelly Ramukkala says that measures will be taken to reduce the price of medicines every 3 months, considering the prices of drugs. The government was able to manage the difficult time and bring the health sector to a progressive stage. Minister Manusha Nanayakkara says that the government is committed to secure the right to information of the people. At a ceremony held in Colombo yesterday, he told the media that, however, there should be a regulatory system for the media institutions to prevent them from carrying defamatory news items and programs. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
People's Bank Excelsior. Live the life you want.
The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka stated that the new electricity tariff revision, which will be effective from next month, will be announced on the 30th of this month. The PUCSL has published the proposal submitted by the Ceylon Electricity Board on how the electricity tariff will be reduced by the revision of the electricity charges to be carried out next July. The Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka's response to the proposed tariff revision presented by the CEB has been made public on the 1st of July for the public to know. According to the proposal submitted by the Ceylon Electricity Board, the electricity bill of the consumers in the category of 0 to 30 units will be reduced by 26.9%, while 10.8% will be reduced from the bill of consumers who consume between 31 to 60 units, and 7.2% will be reduced from the electricity bill of consumers who consume between 61 to 90 units. State Minister for Women, Children's Affairs and Social Empowerment, Geeta Kumarasinghe, stated that plans are underway to give 4 highly nutritious biscuits to preschool children. The State Minister further said that a non-governmental organisation and a biscuit company will implement this program together. She announced this recently at the Alpitia Divisional Secretariat Auditorium while participating in the distribution of water filters under the Early Childhood Development Project supported by the World Bank. And that ends local news for now.
People's Bank Excelsior, a comprehensive banking services package with a branded checkbook as well as debit and credit card exclusively for you. People's Bank Excelsior, for professionals who dare to dream.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddha Lepaweda Mahatmya.
4 Sri Lankans have been named in the Asian Scientist 100 magazine's 2023 edition. Asian Scientist magazine is an award-winning science and technology magazine published by the Singapore-headquartered Wildtype Media Group. Asha Divas, the founder of Ocean's Well, and Dr. Rohan Pethiagoda made to the list with Chaturanga Ranasinghe from the University of Colombo and Ashani Savinda Ranatunga from the University of Moratuwa. Asha Divas is the first Sri Lankan to receive a PhD in marine mammal research and first national geographic explorer of the country. For her contributions in the field, she has received numerous awards. She founded Ocean's Well, Sri Lanka's first marine conservation research and education organisation. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddha Lepaweda Mahatmya.
On to Watchlight. The National Water Supply and Drainage Board said a 20-hour water cut will be imposed in several parts of the Western Province from 10 a.m. today until 6 a.m. tomorrow. Thereby, the water cut will be imposed on the Gorakapitiya, Siddhamulla, Arawala and the Ratmaldeni areas, Maharagampilayandara Road, Edirisinghe Mawatha, Morakatiya Road, Madavala Road, Bokundara Road and all interconnected roads of the mentioned areas. And that was Watchlight. Now moving on to world news. In the headlines, former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi dies at the age of 86. Driverless cars, researcher disguises himself as car seat in study. And 10 people killed in wedding bus crash in Australia. Silvio Berlusconi, the Italian former PM who overcame various scandals to hold office 4 times, has died at age 86. He died at the San Raffaele Hospital in Milan. In April, he was treated for lung infection linked to leukemia. Berlusconi's death leaves a huge void, Italy's defense minister said, with a national day of mourning due to take place tomorrow. The longest-serving Prime Minister in post-war Italy, he had bounced back from sex scandals and corruption cases. A study to test people's reactions to driverless cars has used a ghost driver to record their responses. The work by the University of Nottingham found that in absence of someone in the driving seat, pedestrians trust certain visual prompts more than others when deciding whether to cross the road. As part of the study, a car was driven around the university campus over several days with its driver, research fellow David R. Large, concealed in the driver's seat. Mr. Large said they wanted to explore how pedestrians would interact with a driverless car and develop this unique methodology to explore their reactions. At least 10 people have died and 15 others are in hospital after a wedding bus crashed in an Australian wine region north of Sydney, officials say. The passengers were returning from a wedding at a winery on Sunday night in the Hunter Valley when their coach overturned near the town of Greta. Police have charged the 58-year-old bus driver with 10 counts of dangerous driving, which resulted in the death. They said they were still in the process of identifying the dead. And back to the headlines of the world news. Former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi dies at the age of 86. Driverless cars, researcher disguised himself as car seat in study. And 10 people killed in wedding bus crash in Australia. And that ends world news.
Development News is brought to you by
Vacancies for women from Deshakti Lanka for housemaids in Kuwait, Oman and Saudi Arabia for ages 23 to 58 years. Contact number 037 7500 500.
Transport Minister Dr. Bandula Gunadana says the Sri Lanka Railways is to set up an e-gate system at nearly 400 unprotected level crossings in the railway network around the country. The aim of this system is to put an end to fatal railway accidents that kill nearly 200 people annually and maim about 400. The e-gate system has been developed by Code 10 International on the instructions of the SLR and in association with the State Development and Construction Corporation. An e-gate has officially been fixed as a pilot project near the Godagama railway station recently and is working smoothly. Fatal accidents at rail crossings are a major issue since the day Ceylon Government Railway started in 1864. And that was Development News.
Vacancies for women from Deshakti Lanka for housekeepers, home cooks, caretakers and home nurses in Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia and Singapore for ages 23 to 57 years. Salaries starting from 156,000 rupees. Interviews with foreign agents are now on. Come whether you have a passport or not. Branches, Colombo, Kurunagala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 037 500 500.
On to sports news. Sri Lanka will take on Singapore in the preliminary round of the 12th Asian Youth Netball Championship today. Sri Lanka team faces its most challenged competition against Singapore, having recorded another big win over Brunei yesterday. Singapore is the number 2 team in Asia. Sri Lankan team crushed South Korea 94-8 in their first match recently. Sri Lanka is scheduled to play Chinese Taipei tomorrow in the final match of the preliminary round. This tournament, conducted by Asian Netball, will be held in South Korea until the 17th of June with the participation of 11 countries in the Asian region. And that was Sports News.
Go ekak thiyana youth ekata life ekේ change ekata niyamata set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyamata set wenna friendship ekata menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Sri Lanka's spot to the US dollar closed at 300 and 303 rupees, while bonds and bills were down yesterday, dealers said. The spot US dollar closed at 296 and 50 cents and 298 rupees on Friday. A bond maturing on the 15th of September 2027 closed at 22.9 to 22.10%, down from 23.2 to 35%. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth ekata life ekේ change ekata niyamata set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyamata set wenna friendship ekata menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
On to economic news. The Ceylon high-grown tea prices fell 30 to 50 rupees per kilogram at an auction on June 7th as the rupee strengthening continues, while medium and low-grown was stable, market data showed. Total auction volume was increased to 6.95 million kilograms from last week's 5.9, and there was a good general demand, Forbes and Walker tea brokers said in a report. Forbes and Walker said that the overall quality was generally lower to last, with a handful of teas maintaining the previous week's quality standards. And that was economic news.
Weather report.
Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in the western and Sabragama provinces and in the Galle and Mathura district. Fairly heavy showers, about 75 millimeters, are likely at some places in these areas. several spells of showers will occur in the northwestern and central provinces. Showers or thunder showers will occur at several places in the Ua province and in the Ampara and Batiklo district during the evening or night. Strong winds about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour can be expected at times in the western slope of the central hills. And that was the weather report, and prior to concluding this news broadcast, the headlines once again. Migrant workers' remittances increased by 76%. The prices of medicinal drugs will be reduced by 16% from Thursday. Minister Manusha Nanayakkara says that the government is committed to secure the right to information of the people. The electricity tariffs will be reduced by next month. The State Minister for Women says plans are underway to provide nutritious biscuits to preschool children. Foreign news, former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi dies. In sports, Sri Lanka takes on Singapore in the preliminary round of the 12th Asian Youth Netball Championship today. And with that, we end this news broadcast from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.